Jnana Vedas.
ओम गणानां त्वा गणपतिगुं हवामहे कविं कवीनामुपवस्त्रमस्तमं ज्येष्ठराजं ब्रह्मणान् ब्रह्मणस्पदान् शृण्वन्नोतिभिस्सीदसादनम् ओम पूर्णमिदं पूर्णमदः पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेव अवशिष्यते। ओम शांति शांति शांति।
Sukla Yajurveda Upanishads. Muktika Upanishad. This is the 108th Upanishad in the series of 108 important Upanishads. There are two parts of this Upanishad. Just before Lord Rama leaving the world, Deha Tyagam, by disposing the body in river Sarayu, Hanuman asked a question to Lord in presence of Lakshmana, Bharata, Satrughna, Vasistha and others. The question was about the Vedic and non-Vedic literature. As reply, Lord Rama thus explained. There are 4 Vedas. Rig Veda has 21 recitations, Yajurveda has 109 recitations, Samaveda has 1000 recitations, and the Atharva Veda has 50 recitations. The Lord said there are 108 Upanishads, from Aitreya Upanishads to Bahurucho Upanishad. There are 10 Upanishads belonging to Rig Veda, and all these Upanishads have the Shanti Mantra starting from Vanga Me Manasi Pratishthatha, Mano Me Vachi Pratishthatha. From Ishavasya Upanishad to Muktika Upanishad, there are 19 Upanishads belonging to Shukla Yajurveda having the Shanti Mantra starting from Purnamada, Purnamidam, Purnat. From Kathopanishad to Saraswati Rahasya Upanishad, there are 32 Upanishads. For Krishna Yajurveda having the Shanti Mantra, Saha Navavatu, Saha Navabhuvantu, Saha Viryankara. From Kena Upanishad to Jabala Upanishad, there are 16 Upanishads for Samaveda having the Shanti Mantra, and Prashna Upanishad to Garuda Upanishad, there are 31 Upanishads for Atharva Veda which are chanted with the Shanti Mantra. Thus Lord Rama gives the explanation about the Vedic literature in the first part of this Upanishad. In the second part, Lord explains about prana, yoga, wisdom and intelligence, knowledge, jnanam, analysis, estimation as the mental attitude and capacity to intellectual analysis. Finally, Lord Rama explains why he himself is known as Atharva and the divinity in him. In short, the analysis of mind and psychology were done in the second part. Om Tat Brahman is infinite and his universe is infinite. This infinite proceeds from the infinite. Taking the infinitude of the infinite, it remains as the infinite alone. Or let there be peace in me, let there be peace in my environment, let there be peace in the forces that act on me.
ओम सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ओम शांति शांति शांति।
In the beautiful city of Ayodhya, in the center of pavilion set with gems together with Sita, Bharata, Lakshmana and Satrughna, was Rama seated, glorified day and night by sages like Shanaka, Vasishta and Sukha, as well as other devotees, unchanging witness of thousands of modifications of the intellect, delighted in contemplating his own form. At the end of this samadhi, Hanuman asked with devotion, O Rama, you are the supreme being of the nature of Sat, Chit and Ananda. I desire to know your nature truly for liberation. Please tell me how I can be released from bondage without strain. Rama well asked, I shall tell you. I am well established in Vedanta. Hanuman, what is Vedanta and where is it? Rama, the Vedas in all their great extent are my breath. Vedanta is well grounded in them, like oil in sesame. Hanuman, how many are the Vedas and how many branches do they have? Of these, what are the Upanishads? Rama, Vedas are 4, Rig Veda, many branches and Upanishads exist in them. Rig Veda has 21 branches and Yajus has 109. Sama has 1000 and Atharva has 50. Each branch has one Upanishad. Even by reading one verse of them with devotion, one gets the status of union with me, hard to get even by sages. Hanuman, Rama, sages speak differently. Some say there is only one kind of liberation. Others say it can be got by worshipping your name and by the Taraka mantra at Kashi. Others speak of Sankhya Yoga and Bhakti Yoga, the inquiry into Vedanta Vakyas. Rama, liberation is of 4 kinds. Salokya, but the only real type is Kaivalya. Anybody, even though leading a wicked life, attains Salokya, not other worlds, by worshipping my name. Dying in the sacred Brahma in Kashi, he will get the Taraka mantra and also liberation without rebirth. On dying anywhere in Kashi, Maheshwara will utter the Taraka mantra in his right ear. He gets Sarupya with me as his sins are washed away. The same is called Salokya and Sarupya. Preserving in good conduct with mind fixed upon me, loving me as the self of all, the twice born gets nearer to me. This is called the 3 forms of liberation, Salokya, Sarupya and Samipya. Meditating on my eternal form as prescribed by the teacher, one will surely achieve identity with me like the insects changing into the bee. This alone is the liberation of identity, Sayujya, yielding the bliss of Brahman. All these 4 kinds of mukti will be got by worshipping me. But by what means is the Kaivalya kind of moksha got? The Mandukya is enough. If knowledge is not got from it, then study the 10 Upanishads. Getting knowledge very soon, you will reach my abode. If certainty is not got even, then study the 32 Upanishads and stop. If desiring moksha without the body, read the 108 Upanishads. Here their order is Isha, Kena, Katha, Prashna, Munda, Mandukya, Taitreyi, Aitreya, Chandogya, Brihadaranya, Brahma, Kaivalya, Jabala, Swetswa, Hamsa, Aruni, Garbha, Narayana, Paramahamsa, Amrita Bindu, Amritananda, Atharvrisha, Atharsikha, Maitrayini, Kaustika, Brihajabala, Maitreya, Subala, Nihisamapatni, Kalagnirudra, Kshrika, Mantrika, Saraswasara, Nirlamba, Sukha Rahasya, Vajrasuchika, Tejo Bindu, Nada Bindu, Dhyana Bindu, Brahma Vidya, Yogata Tattva, Atmabodha, Narada Parivrajaka, Trishika, Sita, Yoga Chudamani, Nirvana, Mandala Brahmana, Dakshinamurti, Sarabha, Skandha, Tripadi Vibhuti, Maharanya, Advaita Taraka, Rama Rahasya, Rama Tapani, Vasudeva, Mudgala, Sandilya, Painigala, Bhikshu, Mahat, Sariraka, Yoga Sikha, Turiyatita, Sannyasa, Paramahamsa, Parivajika, Akshak Malika, Avayokta, Ekakshara, Annapurna, Surya, Akshi, Adhyatma, Kundika, Savitri, Atma, Pasupata, Parambha, and Parabrahma, Avyagdukta, Tripura Patni, Devi, Tripura, Katharudra, Bhavana, Rudra Vidya, Yoga Kundali, Bhashma, Rudraksha, Ganapati, Darasana, Tarasara, Mahavakya, Panchabrahma, Prana Agnihotra, Gopala Tapani, Krishna, Yajnavalka, Varaha, Satyayani, Hayagriva, Dattatreya, Garuda, Kali Matrana, Jabali, Saubhagyalakshmi, Saraswati Rahasya, Bahaviricha, and Muktika. These destroy three kinds of bhavana, body, senses, and mind, respectively, as identified with Atma. The best of Brahmanas will become Jiva Muktas if they study up to the destruction of Prarabdha. These 108 Upanishads from a Guru along with the Shantipada. Then in course of time they will get Vedeha Mukti. These 108 are the essence of all Upanishads and can cut away all sins by merely hearing once. These cause release whether read with or without knowledge. One may give away a kingdom, wealth to one who asks, but not these 108 to just anyone, to an unbeliever, ungrateful, of bad conduct, one against devotion to me, deluded by wrong scriptures or lacking devotion to the Guru. But they shall be taught to one devoted to service, devotee of good conduct, birth and wisdom. He should be well tested. A Rik verse on this, the goddess of knowledge came to Brahma and said, "Protect me, I am your treasure. Do not teach me to one who is jealous, dishonest and deceitful. Then I shall powerful, but give it to one who is learned, careful, wise and celibate, after examining him." Then Maruti asked Sri Ramachandra thus, "Please relate to me separately the Shanti mantras of the different Vedas." Sri Rama then said, "My speech rests on my mind." This is the Shanti mantra of the following 10 Upanishads forming part of the Rig Veda. That which lies beyond is full, Purnamada, and so on. This is the Shanti mantra of the 19 Upanishads forming the part of Shukla Yajurveda. May the Brahma of the Upanishads protect us both, Sahanavatu, and so on. This is the Shanti mantra of the 32 Upanishads forming part of the Krishna Yajurveda. May the unseen powers nourish. This is the Shanti mantra of the 16 Upanishads forming the part of Samaveda. May we hear with our ears the auspicious truths of Vedanta. This is the Shanti mantra of the 31 Upanishads of Atharvana Veda. Men who are seekers after liberation and well equipped with the four requisite means approach properly with gifts in the hands, a good teacher who is dedicated, belonging to a good family, well versed in the Vedas, interested in the scriptures, of good quality, straightforward, interested in the welfare of all creatures, compassionate and learn in the prescribed manner. The 108 Upanishads. Study them through listening, reflection, and deep absorption continuously. The accumulated karmas will be dissolved. The three kinds of bodies are abandoned, and like the ether of the pot, when released from its upadhi, rise to the level of fullness, called Videha Mukti. This indeed is the absolute liberation, Kaivalya Mukti. That is why even those in the Brahmaloka get identity with the Brahman after listening to the Upanishads from his mouth. And for everyone, absolute liberation is stated to be only through knowledge, not through karma rituals, not through Sankhya yoga or worship. Thus the Upanishad says. Then Hanuman asked Ramachandra, what is this Jivana Mukti, Videha Mukti? What is the authority, means of success and purpose? Rama said, for a person there is bondage from doership, enjoyership, pleasure, pain. Their prevention is liberation in the body. Videha Mukti, liberation without the body, is from the destruction of prarabdha, operative karma, like the space in a pot released from the conditioning enclosing pot. For both the authority is the 108 Upanishads. The purpose is eternal happiness through the stopping of the misery of doership. This can be achieved by Hanuma and human effort, just as a son is got by putra kama, sacrifice, wealth by trade, and heaven by jyotish stoma. There are these verses. Hanuman effort is said to be of the two kinds, for and against the Shastras. The former gives disaster, the later the ultimate reality. True knowledge does not come to one from latent impressions through the world, Shastras and the body. Such impressions are twofold, good and bad. If you are induced by the good, you shall reach me gradually but quickly. The bad ones involved lead to trouble and should be overcome with effort. The river of impression flowing through good and bad paths must be turned into the good path with human effort. One should fondle the mind child with human effort. When by means of practice good impressions arise, then the practice has been fruitful. Even when this is in doubt, practice only the good tendencies. There shall be no fault. The destruction of impressions, cultivation of knowledge, and destruction of the mind, when practiced together for long, will yield fruit. If not practiced together, there will be no success even after hundreds of years, like mantras which are scattered. When these three are practiced long, the knots of the heart surely are broken, like lotus fiber and the stalk. The false impression of worldly life is got in 100 lives and cannot be destroyed without long practice. So avoid desire of enjoyment at a distance with effort and practice, the three. The wise know that the mind is bound by the impressions. It is liberated when released well from them. So, O Hanuman, practice the destruction of mental impression quickly. When impressions die out, the mind becomes put out like a lamp. Whoever gives up impressions and concentrates on me without strain, he becomes bliss. Whether he concentrates on actions or not, when he avoids all the desires of the heart, he is doubtlessly liberated. He has nothing to gain from action or inaction. If his mind is not freed from impressions, even samadhi and japa cannot give fruit. The highest place cannot be got without silence, free from impressions. Sense organs like the eye go towards external objects without voluntary impression. but because of the latent impression, just as the eye falls voluntarily without attachment on eternal objects, so the man of wisdom operates in work. The sages know that vasana comprises of all objects generated by creative faculty of the mind in attaining or avoiding them. The very unsteady mind, which is the cause of birth, old age and death, is generated by desire for objects in excess. By the influence of vasana, there is the pulsation of prana, from it comes vasana, like seed and sprout. From the tree of the human mind, the pulsation and the vasana are two seeds. When one dies, both die. Latent impressions stop operating through detached behavior, avoidance of worldly thought, and realization that the body is mortal. The mind becomes non-mind by giving up vasanas. When the mind does not think, then arises mindlessness, giving great peace. So long as your mind has not fully evolved, being ignorant of the supreme reality, perform what has been laid down by the teachers, Shastra and other sources. Then with impurity ripened and destroyed and truth understood, you should give up even the good impressions. In a Jivan Mukta, the destruction of the mind is with form. In a Videha Mukta, it is formless. When you achieve it, the mind with qualities like friendliness will surely attain peace. The mind of the Jivan Mukta has no rebirth. The mind is the root of the tree of samsara, which has thousands of sprouts, branches, fruits. I take the mind to be nothing but construction. Make it dry in such a way that the tree also is dried up. There is only one means of overpowering mind. Shooting up of one's mind is one's undoing. Its destruction is good fortune. The mind of the knower is destroyed. It is a chain for the ignorant. As long as the mind is not defeated by means of firm practice, the impressions jump in the heart like ghosts at night. The impressions of enjoyment die like lotus in water. For one whose mental pride is reduced and the senses, the enemies, are defeated, one should at first conquer the mind. Hands locked in hands, teeth set on teeth, and limbs subdued. The mind cannot be conquered without defectless reasoning, by merely sitting, just as an elephant in rut without a good and goat. The reasons without methods, well nourished in mind, conquest or knowledge of Vedanta, contact with good people, giving up impressions and stopping of the pulsation of prana. Those who ignore these and control the mind by force throw away the lamp and search in darkness by means of soot. Also try to bind an elephant in rut by lotus fiber. The tree of mind, bearing the weight of the creepers of thought, has two seeds, the pulsation of prana and strong impression. All perceiving consciousness is shaken by the pulsation of prana. In contrast, by means of concentration, the knowledge arises. The dhyana, its means, is now imparted. Dissolving thought totally in the reverse order, think only of the remaining pure consciousness. After the apana sets and before prana arises in the heart, there exists the state of kumbha, immobility experienced by yogins. Kumbha in the eternal form is the fullness of prana after in-birth disappears and out-birth arises. By repeatedly practicing meditation of Brahman without ego, sampragyata samadhi will be got. The asampragyata samadhi loved by yogins is from the mind giving great bliss after all the mental modifications or thoughts die away. It is valued by sages being the spirit devoid of the light of ego, of the mind of dream and the intellect in deep sleep. This concentration is other than what is not Brahman. Full above, below and in the middle, the essence of goodness, this state prescribed by the Upanishads is the ultimate reality. Latent impressions is that unexamined grasping of objects by persistent imagination. What one brings into being through intense dispassion by oneself is realized quickly, devoid of opposite impression, influenced by impression. A person looks upon those things as reality by the peculiarity of the impression. The ignorant person seeks the spirit wrongly, though it does not lose its own nature. The impure impression binds, the pure destroys birth. The impure one is solid ignorance and ego, causes rebirth. The restful state is like the roasted seed, giving up the sprout of rebirth. Can the inner light be sought with chewing the cud of many shastras uselessly? One who remains alone, giving up perception as well as non-perception, is himself the Brahman. A person cannot know Brahman by merely learning the four Vedas and Shastras, as the ladle cannot taste the food. If a person does not get detachment by the bad smell of his own body, what other cause of detachment can be taught? The body is very impure, the soul is pure. When one knows the difference, what purification need be prescribed? Bondage is by impressions, moksha is their destruction. You give them up as well as the desire for moksha. Give up mental impressions of objects and cultivate pure impressions, like friendship, then discarding even these while acting according to them, putting down all desires, have only the impression of consciousness. Give up these two along with mind and intellect. Concentrate only on me. Contemplate me as devoid of sound, touch, form, taste and smell, eternal, indestructible, without name and family, destroying all suffering, the nature of vision like the sky, the one syllable Om, unsmearing through, omnipresent, unique, without bondage, forward, across, above, below. I fill our place, unborn, ageless, shining by myself, not the cause nor effect, ever contended with the body, dies away. Giving up the state of Jivan Mukta, one enters the Videha Mukti stage. So says the Rik. That supreme place of Vishnu the sages see ever, like an eye extended in heaven. The wise and awakened persons free from emotions keep it alight. Om, this is the Upanishad. Om, that Brahman is infinite and this universe is infinite. The infinite proceeds from the infinite. Then taking the infinitude of the infinite universe, it remains as the infinite Brahman alone. Om, let there be peace in me, let there be peace in my environment, and let there be peace in the forces that act on me. Here ends the Muktika Upanishad belonging to the Shukla Yajurveda.